Ladies and gentlemen, welcome tonight to another edition of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode on the channel. It is the cutoff race to the round of 16. It is the GoBowling.com at the Glen 400, and this is going to be a spectacular race here today. Our round of 16 finale takes a couple left and right turns on a road course, but not at the Charlotte Roval, which is a particular cutoff race in recent years for the NASCAR playoffs. No, this one is at Watkins Glen, the first playoff race at Watkins Glen of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. As you can see, the points are on the left side of the screen. Once again, we did not have that in the race earlier today at Kentucky. Those are acclimated. Two drivers are locked into the round of 12 right now, one on a win and one on points. Keegan Schneider has won the first two races of the playoffs so far, winning both at Kentucky and at the Auto Club Speedway in the round of 16. Joey Logano is locked in on points. And as we look at the rest of the cutoff standings going into tonight's race, currently 67 points ahead of the cutoff line. Denny Hamlin sitting in third. Brad Keselowski in fourth, 61 points above the cutoff line. Kyle Busch in fifth, 56 points above the cutoff line. Kurt Busch in sixth, 43 points above the cutoff line. Ryan Blaney is 37 points above the cutoff line. Kevin Harvick, after DNF, is still 34 points above the cutoff line. 24 points above the cutoff line is Clint Boyer. Mark Truex Jr. 21 points above. 19 points above is Matt Kenseth. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is the last driver above the cutoff line at 13 points above Eric Almirola. Almirola being the first driver outside the cutoff line. Ryan Newman is 14 points below the cutoff line. Matt DiBenedetto and Matt DiBenedetto and Jonathan Nemechek are both 21 points below the cutoff line coming into the race here tonight. This is going to be an exciting one, and we are about to qualify for this race. Session qualifying, and we'll see if Keegan Schneider can go out there and get his third career pole. His only other two career poles came this season, both on road courses at Sonoma and the Indianapolis road course. It's been quite a bit of time since his first pole earlier this season. And he's going to try to do his best. Session qualifying, we're going to run 2 laps in this first session to try and get into the top 12. Only the top 12 will advance into session number 2. No practice coming into this, so you guys are probably going to see me all over the place these first couple laps in session 1, as you saw right there going through the bus stop. We'll get it worked out eventually. What happens when I just roll right into it? Dark Crypto, Patrick Chatterley, welcome to the stream. Hoping that Hamlin gets eliminated. Is that because he's really good at Talladega? That is our championship finale. Hamlin has been very consistent to start the playoffs and has been equally consistent throughout the course of the season. He's looking pretty good here tonight to clinch himself by the end of the first 2 stages. This is a 90-lap race, 20 laps in stage 1, 20 laps in stage 2, 50 laps in the final stage. This is a timed lap. This one will count for Schneider. The second session will be 10 minutes, 25 minutes just for Schneider to get 2 solid laps in here, so he'll make a issue in this round, and he will run the entirety of the 10 minutes in round 2. Dodgers and Harvick fan, welcome to the stream as well. Good into turn 6. Not a perfect lap. Schneider going to try to pick the pace up on lap 2. Going to get a little bit of a draft off Christopher Bell here. The problem is lap 2 he's going to have to pass Bell, and it's going to have to be going into turn 1. Schneider tries to outbreak the 95 and does, but even that alone is going to cost him a little bit of time, having to enter in at a lot sharper angle. Couldn't take the corner as wide or as fast as he would typically want to. 108.145 was lap 1 for Schneider. Gets to the bus stop well, even passing Bell. This lap should be quicker. Nope. That was actually worse through the bus stop than what he was on lap 1. get 2 tires up on the curbing off the exit. Pretty good in turn 6. Now into 7. Definitely pushing hard. Lap 2 will be a 109. Or sorry, I didn't even see it up there. It was a 108. I was looking at the goal. Not sure exactly what the second lap was. It wasn't faster than the first. And that first lap will get him to 3rd on the charts. Denny Hamlin tops the charts in round 2 with a 107.691. So Schneider going to have to pick up a half a second into this final round. I'm sure he can. Just kind of struggled out of the gate by his standards at Watkins Glen. We'll see what he can do. Finished 6th here last season. That was not a good exit to the pit lane, getting into the guardrail there. Hopefully that damage doesn't affect him too much. Very light hit, but still. Jackson Thomas, welcome to the stream as well. Could you imagine the Championship 4 being like the four of the best super speedway racers? Like we get Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, and I guess Byron's not in the playoffs. I don't know who would be the next best of the playoff drivers. Stenhouse. I forgot he's in the playoffs too. And he's above the cutoff line by 13 points coming into this race. How about that for Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? Well, this will be the first time lap of the second and final session of qualifying. About 8.5 minutes to go. Try and set the quick time. You see Denny Hamlin just coming out of the pits. He's going to be behind Schneider. That's going to hurt Hamlin. Put in dirty here. Schneider is going as hard as he can, and that was not very good into the S's. He had to burp the gas quite a bit. He'll pull up in front of Hamlin now. Hamlin's got to check up. He is on his get up to speed lap. Logano and Schneider both on a time lap here. Schneider's really struggling for whatever reason in the bus stop. They have to loosen this car up before entering into the race. It's going to be tough for Denny Hamlin to put the quick time up for the second straight session, though, just because he is in line behind the 99. He's going to have to find a way around him or just kind of drop back. 108.999 for lap 1. Logano tops the charts with a 108.724, even though he's back in traffic. Shows you how bad Schneider struggled into the S's that last lap. And he's going to struggle again in the wall. My goodness. Schneider's all over the place. Hamlin's got to check up. Here comes Logano with a head of steam to the high side. Now he's going to check up. Schneider through the bus stop that time, but he couldn't carry as much speed in. He's not getting out of the SS well for the second straight lap. And Schneider is going to pit this time for 4 fresh tires and try to loosen the car up to make a couple more laps. Logano and Hamlin side by side through turn 5 and into the bus stop. They made it through. Not any contact, but obviously they had lost some pace compared to their first lap. I guess Hamlin, that would have been his first lap. Schneider trying to drop it onto pit road. 40 miles per hour is the pit road speed limit. And into the pits he goes. He's going to repair the 1 second of damage. Going to drop the wedge by a half a round. And we'll see if he can move to the top of the charts. Currently, it's Joey Logano about halfway through this second session with the current pole position. Schneider trying to go for his first pole in the playoffs. It would be his 3rd of the entire season and his career. going to be a very quick stop, 17.2 seconds. A little slow there. Having to make a backwards pit stop, though, by serving the left side tires before the right side, so I'm sure that might have transpired into a little bit slower of a stop as well. Schneider works his way out of the pit lane, and we'll see what those adjustments can do. Obviously tight in the S's and in the bus stop. Currently back to third, Chase Elliott. No surprise, he's at the top right now, the 108.241. So far, Schneider's fastest lap in Session 1 would be good enough for the pole, but has not been able to mimic that yet. This lap is not going to be there, obviously, coming out of the pit lane, so by the time he completes his first official lap after hitting the pits, he's really only going to have about 2 minutes left after that. So probably 3 more laps, I'd have to assume, that could be ran by the 99. We'll see. No traffic in front of him or behind him. He is all on his own here. And Eric Almirola now has jumped up to third place at a 108.295. Very close to Ryan Blaney's time, who is still in second. And, I should say Blaney moved up to second. Logano is dropped back to fourth, and now Hamlin has jumped inside the top 5, and he's up to fourth, bumping Schneider back to sixth. Schneider has qualified inside the top 3 on every road course this season, with only 2 poles to show for. This has been a near perfect lap so far. The adjustment changes definitely look like they have made the car a little bit better in the handling department. Back to the start-finish line. Second, 107.782. Ryan Newman tops the charts currently with a 107.751. Newman comes in 14 points below the cutoff line on Stenhouse. A pole would be big for Ryan Newman in being able to possibly get some stage points, and a lot of them in the first 2 stages. Schneider keeps it off the guardrail into the S's, carries a lot more speed this time around while standing on the throttle. Hard into the braking zone, into the bus stop. A little bit too hard. That's going to cost him a lot of time into turn 5, and this is not going to be a quicker lap than the first. Schneider maybe just pushing a tad too hard. 0.03 of a second off of Ryan Newman. Really good into turn 6, powering it back down into 7. Locking the brakes up with pretty good, turning the car there. Tried to make up for it in those final 2 corners, but that mistake off the exit of the bus stop into 5 definitely cost him. Ended up being a 108.771, the second fastest lap of the session. He's all the racetrack off the exit of turn 1, trying to stand back in the gas as soon as he can. He did lift a little bit in the center of the S's there to get it pinned up right, hugging the curbing all the way through. 187 miles an hour before breaking into the bus stop. Really good set of corners that time for Schneider. It's going to make his turn 5 entry a lot better than the lap before. Hugging the inside all the way through turn 5. This is a masterful lap so far, and he's only got 2 more corners to go with 1.5 minutes left on the clock. Maybe could have taken it a little bit deeper into turn 6. Not bad into 7 though, and back to the gas. We'll power up from 3rd to 4th gear right before the line. Oh man, 107.831. And this may be his final lap to try and get Ryan Newman. This is going to be tough. going to be very interesting if he's going to be able to get another lap in. Really good into the bus stop again. Probably the best he's actually gotten through there so far. Neither of the first 2 sessions, I guess only 2 sessions of qualifying. I think him not taking it quite as deep into 6 was the only maybe minor, and I mean very, very minor mistake he made in trying to get to Newman. That was perfect that time around. He's got one more corner to try and replicate perfection. And will he get back to the start-finish line in time to get another lap going? If this one is not going to be quick enough, it's not. 107.889. But he got to the clock with a few seconds left, so this will be his final lap. So he was able to get a 4th lap in after all. Off the curbing that time. Schneider trying to stand on it. Oh, and a big mistake. Big mistake in the S's. And that might have did him in. Just trying to push the car so hard that he's just going to chop through the grass now. He doesn't care at this point. He is after being in the wall already, for all intents and purposes, this lap was probably not going to be quick enough. Ryan Newman, I don't even think was in the top 5 in session 1. The Rocket Man will qualify on the pole once again. This lap is not going to do it for Schneider. 108.2 on that final lap. He came close, 0.03 of a second off on 2 of his laps. And a little over 1/10 of a second off on that second to last lap he ran. Ryan Newman on the pole at Watkins Glen. Schneider will start outside pole in 2nd. And there you look at the top 12 in that final round. Elliott and Almirola, row 2. Hamlin Logano, row 3. Ty Dillon, Jimmy Johnson, row 4. Kevin Harvick and Ty Dillon, row 4. Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Blaney, row 5. And Kurt Busch and Alex Bowman, row 6. So Ryan Newman on the pole, 14 points below the cutoff line. Last driver in on the cutoff line coming into the race is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 16th. He has finished in the top 10 in all 5 road course races so far this season. But a further back starting position, we'll see how he can rally. With Newman up there on the pole, he's going to have to get on it in a hurry to try and accumulate some stage points that Ryan Newman is likely going to be able to do. So without further more waiting, we are about to start this race. Schneider's definitely loosened the car up quite a bit here heading into the race. Trying to help it turn a little bit more freely. Bobby Carter and Stenhouse starting at the rear now. So Stenhouse went from qualifying 16th. Now he's got to start at the tail of the field. Boyer's been struggling as well, and he comes in 24 points above the cutoff line. Ryan Newman will leave the field of the green. Stenhouse has some work cut out for him early on. Green flag back in the air. Race 2 of the doubleheader. Ryan Newman got a good launch. Schneider trying to send it into turn 1, and he's going to get to the lead from 2nd place. He actually had the advantage being on the inside lane. Despite Newman getting the better launch at the start-finish line, Schneider still beat him off the exit of the first turn. Nothing worked on that car just a little bit after qualifying. Now that he's in the race, maybe a more comfortable position for Schneider. He's won far more races than when he's qualified on the pole before, so that attack trying to get the pole award, he's only been able to do it twice in his career versus 25 career wins. Definitely not somebody that qualifies on the front row very often. Schneider out of the gates and running here early. He's got 3 wins on road courses this year. The most recent one coming in the last road course race towards the end of the regular season at Road America 4 races ago. He's in the middle of this current win streak for Schneider, which is at 6 races coming into this one at the Glen. Between the adjustment changes and the clean air after getting a great initial start on Ryan Newman, has him out to a 1.5 second lead. Eric Almirola in third, who has also been very, very good on the road courses this season. And Almirola comes in below the cutoff line. He's the first driver below. So him and Newman, and that would be insane if they could both get ahead of Stenhouse, and then they'd be racing each other for the final position. After that point, Stenhouse starting in 39th after having to drop to the rear at the start of the race. Already looking like, at least after qualifying, he's lacking the speed that the 6 and the 10 cars have. It's going to be a fun development. How about the 2 drivers who are locked into the round of 12? The only 2, Logano and Schneider, are inside the top 5 just a couple laps into this race. A little hot into turn 1, but got back to the gas in a similar position there. I think like most of these other road courses, Almirola might be the one that's going to contend. Maybe more so than Newman, who did jump up onto the pole. He might not have the pace. I think Newman just ran one super fast lap, and he doesn't have the car to be able to replicate that in the race. And Schneider already, his first lap up to speed was faster than any lap he ran in qualifying. Again, they worked and adjusted on the car. Even after qualifying, as you saw. Loosened it up quite a bit. Both those laps were quicker than not only what he ran in qualifying, but also quicker than the pole time Ryan Newman ran in that second session. Newman was about 1/10 of a second off what Denny Hamlin ran in session 1. You wonder how fast of a car Hamlin's got as well. Because remember, Hamlin was top of the charts in session 1, and he came out right alongside Logano and right behind Schneider, which was holding him up those first 2 laps. He was on fresher tires in that second session. Oh man, that was a little wider than what I wanted to go off of turn 5, trying to carry as much speed as possible. That got pretty sketchy. Good thing there's that big runoff area. You know, on those NASCAR Thunder games where they have the wall that's kind of popped out off of turn 5 on the very exit of the corner, where you have like literally 0 runoff room, or you're going to hit the wall head on? We would have hit that wall head on if this was NASCAR Thunder. Oh my goodness. Well, you couldn't tell already, Schneider's stepping on it. He wants to get the sweep in the round of 16. Not only by winning all the races, but he may win all the stages as well. He's won the whole stages and the race in the first 2 races of the playoffs. A lot of momentum. The next race will be at New Hampshire on the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode tomorrow night. It will be our round of 12 playoff opener. And our race is going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. I'll be coming home right after work. I will not be getting home late. And 7 p.m. Eastern Standard start time at New Hampshire for the opening race of the round of 12 in the playoffs. And that will be the only one for the weekend until Monday, before we run our second race of the round at Atlanta. Taking Saturday and Sunday off for Heat 5, going back to NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Remember, Daytona, the Coke 0400 is the cutoff race of the round of 12. anything can definitely happen there. You want to have a good showing in those first two races of the round at New Hampshire and Atlanta. 301 mile, 301 lap race at New Hampshire, a 500 mile, 325 lap race at Atlanta, and then that 400 mile event. It's 160 laps at Daytona for the round of 12. Then in the round of 8, we go to Gateway, Bristol for the night race, and then the Charlotte Roval before the Championship 4 at Talladega. And that will wrap up all of our NASCAR Heat 5 action for the channel's history, really. All intents and purposes of playing this game again, that's for sure. Buggy as hell. That is going to be it. These first two stages definitely pretty short. Newman is still held off Almirola. No real sign of if Eric Almirola is fast enough. If he can get around the 6th and maybe run similar times as the race leader, Schneider. Schneider's far enough ahead that Newman's got cleaner air. What he would have had running directly behind the 99. $13 to go in stage 1. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. Starting with the in-car ride around the Watkins Glen International. One thing I've always noticed about this racetrack, it's always been Watkins Glen International. To me, that sounds like an airport. And this isn't exactly an airport. So I don't know why it's not called like road course or complex like some of these other road courses. I just find it weird. It's just Watkins Glen International. Hopefully we don't have anybody taking flight in this race. We have seen some scary flips at this racetrack, and really not all that long ago either. There was a big stretch of races in the early 2010s where we were having some really bad accidents on a consecutive yearly basis at the track at the NASCAR Cup Series side. Do a send-off for Bobby Carter. Yes. Bobby Carter, much like NASCAR great Jimmy Johnson, fellow NASCAR Cup Series winner, 10-time winner at that, Clint Boyer will not be in the NASCAR game. Bobby Carter will not be in the new NASCAR game. Likely. I guess we don't know the full driver lineup. Maybe he'll make a return to NASCAR 21 Ignition. I guess Bobby Carter, we don't know what his NASCAR 21 Ignition plans are. We don't know what his contract is entailing. About as bad as I've gotten through turn 6 between qualifying and start of this race, but that's okay. Car's obviously fast early on. Yeah, doubleheader. Well, I tried to state that in the chat. I guess my chat disappeared. The message I sent in the chat before the stream started disappeared. We're doing the doubleheader because we did not run Kentucky last night when we were supposed to. We didn't run it last night because I just didn't stream last night. I got home a little later than when I thought I was going to. It was too late to run a cup race, so I took the night off, and being off of work today, we were going to run both races. So that's why the Kentucky race was earlier on, and now we're running Watkins Glen. Schneider catching lap traffic off the finish of lap 10. Quickly get around Chad Fincham in the 49 car. 10 laps to go in stage 1, so we're halfway through the opening stage. And Willie Byron's having a poor run. He's in 39th right now. Even Bobby Carter's out running. Byron is usually pretty good at road courses, so this is very shocking. Michael McDowell as well is pretty good on road courses as also. Just up there. 37. Outbreaks both Byron and Carter. Oh man, into the back of McDowell. Getting into turn 5. Just a super quick closing rate into the corner. Shadow wasn't expecting McDowell to get out of the gas as early as he did. Man, oh man. Matt Kenseth, Brad Keselowski, 2 playoff drivers are slow on speed right now as well. 35th and 36th on the grid. And they're going to go a lap down here in stage 1 as Schneider shot the gap into 1 to get around both of them. Keselowski tried to cross him over, but he, for whatever reason, does not have the speed in his car. These closing rates are just ridiculous on these slower cars at the rear of the field. Second car I've gotten into the back of already. I thought it was Joey Gase in the 51. Well wishes to him, wishing him a speedy recovery after that nasty crash he had this last weekend at Las Vegas in the NASCAR Cup Series. The real life side of things. And now Clinton Boyer, which stated in the pre-race that he was looking pretty slow, is 33rd. So we have 3 playoff drivers outside the top 30 in the round of 16 elimination race. And you can see on the left-hand side of the screen exactly where they stack in the points. Boyer trying to hug Schneider, side draft him down this long straightaway. Not going to work out enough for him to stay alongside, and Schneider clears easily before breaking into turn 1. And John Hunter Nemechek's up here as well. Now, granted, he was probably the most likely of the 16 playoff drivers to be running back here for Foot Road Motorsports, but even he's not having a great run. 4 playoff drivers of the 16 are outside the top 30. In the early going of this race, which is just insane. Big lock up the brakes that time for Schneider, trying to keep it off of Nemechek. The damage isn't really that noticeable in the front of the race car. Into the back of McDonald's. Well, he's in the Credit One Bank car today. So. That would have been hilarious if he wasn't. McDonald's, you could have said we were speeding through the drive-thru or something. Almirola is losing some points here, which is very vital considering where some of these playoff drivers are at. And this is going to shake things up. I will update the points on the screen that you see now for the final stage, but I will not update them at the end of stage 1. So we'll pause the game after the end of stage 2, get the updated points, and then you'll know exactly how many positions, 1 point per position, so exactly how many positions who will have to be who to make it into the round of 12. Remember, Stenhouse started at the rear. We haven't seen him yet. And is it possible for Stenhouse to make his way through the field enough that he can stay on the lead lap to the end of this opening stage? That's going to be big for him. Caution is out. Well, that's going to help. Ryan Newman's going to pit for second place. He must not like the handling of his car. Caution's out for the first time today. We don't see a lot of these on road courses this season. In fact, the last road course at Road America, we only had 1 caution per incident the entire race. Looks like everybody else is going to stay out of the pits. John Hunter Nemechek gets the free pass at 31st. Big for him being in the playoffs. Stenhouse has made his way up to 25th. So Newman sacrificing stage points, likely so that way he can stay out of the pits for stage 2. But in a situation where you come in 14 points below the cutoff line and the guy you're chasing isn't even in the top 10, you would think you would take all the stage points you can. And especially when you consider Almirola is still 1 point ahead of him as well, and he's still in the top 10. Green flag back in the air anyway. Schneider leads the field to the green. And will lead everybody off of turn 1. Chase Elliott in second, though. Watkins, Glen, King maybe coming after him, where Elliott, of course, got his first career win. He only got 3 laps to go in stage 1, so this is a bit of a green-white checker restart. Kenseth doesn't do good on road courses, but he would, even in a Chip Ganassi car, I'm sure be better than 35th. Keselowski, too. Not that great on road courses in recent years, but especially this year, but he's still would be better than 34th in the run order. Just off of equipment alone, really. Schneider pushing hard into 6 and 7. Back to the gas now. I'll try to break whatever draft he can off of Chase Elliott. 2 laps to go in stage 1. They're going to go a little wide in the first turn. Elliott closes the gap. Oh, that was a mistake. That was similar to what Schneider pulled off in qualifying. Pressure is definitely on him for the first time. Newman pitting really gave these faster cars a chance to keep up with the 99. Despite the easy-going start. Almirola really is a lot closer to Elliott than what Elliott is compared to Schneider, although he's not that far behind the 99. Schneider going to try to break the draft again down to the inside of the racetrack, down the longest straightaway of the racetrack. Final lap of stage 1. Can Elliott make his way around the 99 of Schneider? He's going to pull low. He's got a bit of a run. Schneider did beat him back to the gas briefly. Can't push it too hard into the S's this time. Pretty well done that time for Schneider. Try to break this draft again as Elliott gets the run down the straightaway. Into the bus stop. Schneider didn't gap him, but he got through there really well. Didn't drop in the second gear that time, just kept it in third. 2 more corners to go for Schneider to try and win the opening stage of the race. It will be his 40th stage win of the season, and another on a road course. 1 more corner as he enters turn 7, a little hot, but he'll hold on in front of Chase Elliott. Elliott definitely closed the gap quite a bit there, but it wasn't enough. And King and Schneider will win stage 1 at Watkins Glen. Eric Almirola getting 8 points. Big for him, coming in 13 points below the cutoff line. Hamlin getting 6, Blaney getting 5, Harvick with 4, Truex with 2, Kyle Busch with 1. And everybody will pit during the stage break, likely except for Ryan Newman, who will stay out and get to restart from the lead. Schneider doesn't want to lose time on pit road, so he'll not pit to repair the damage. Ryan Newman will restart in the lead. Free pass to Justin Haley in 32nd. Stenhouse up to 32nd right now in the running order. So I'll pause it for a quick second just to get these points in, and then we'll just go right back to racing, and I'll update the graphic well after the stage. All right, Kyle Busch gets 1. As mentioned, 2 points for Martin Truex Jr. Kevin Harvick gets 4 points. Ryan Blaney with 5 points. Denny Hamlin with 6 points. Joey Logano with 7, although he's already locked into the next round on points. And then Schneider with the stage win. Elliott is a non-playoff driver. Could you imagine if Elliott was a playoff driver, though, just considering that Chase Elliott had a top 5 at Kentucky, was top 5 in every stage, and now here in this one, this is completely roles reversed here. Carzone Boy, welcome to the stream. Green flag back in the air at Watkins Glen. And again, it's Newman leading the field to the green. Only really on about 3-lap older tires. Trying to outbrake Schneider into the first turn. Schneider sends it into the first turn and clears Ryan Newman again. Newman going to try to act as a roadblock like he did at the beginning of the last stage. Side by side for third between Eric Almirola and Chase Elliott. Schneider was able to hug the curb through the S's that time. Newman trying to get a run again. Did they make the right fine-tune adjustments for Newman to be able to contend now? Almirola makes his way around Chase Elliott for third. Elliott, who restarted third, is now back to fourth. Schneider wide again, and here comes Newman. Not going to make the pass there. Schneider going to break the draft to the inside of the racetrack. Newman looks low, not going to get there. No problem for you missing the Kentucky race either. You gotta do what you gotta do. We're here for the most important race of the round, which would be the cutoff race. Probably the best racetrack in the round at Watkins Glen. Personal favorite road course on the NASCAR schedule. It was definitely a little shaky that opening lap. Ryan Newman was giving him a little bit of pressure. And now starting to pull away from the 6 of Newman a little bit. I do feel like if Almirola can make a move around Newman, he'll be able to do what Elliott did and keep the pressure on Schneider. Schneider might have just blown through the chicane, and he is very, very lucky he didn't get a penalty for cutting the chicane there, because that was awfully looking like he should have been penalized. Really bad. Almirola trying to get underneath Newman again into turn 7, and he almost got him that time. Back to the normal camera, at least to the end of stage 2 now. Still not really pulling away like he did earlier on. Almirola's failed attempted passes costed him as well, as he's a couple car lengths now behind the 6. He outscored Newman in stage 1. which means if those two catch and pass Stenhouse, Newman would still have to beat Almirola. He came in 1 point behind him, and he had 0 stage points. He gave up the track position, stage 1, and if we look by the way things are running now, if it stays that way at the end of the race, even if Newman beats Almirola by 1 or 2 positions, Almirola will get the final spot. Obviously, depending on where Stenhouse finishes, as of right now, Stenhouse would still be above the cutoff line by 5 points over Eric Almirola heading into this second stage. Stenhouse, who started 39th, is up to 22nd. He's going to have to continue to pick this pace up. Who knows, maybe we see some more cautions throughout the course of the race as well. We had one in stage 1. About 7 to go in the stage. Setting a 3-lap restart. Stage 1 break, and now we're here early in stage 2. Three-second lead extended. We got a ways before lap traffic yet as well. It took 10 laps, 10 full laps under green to start the race for Schneider to get to the lap traffic, and 3 laps later he ended up getting a caution that bunched the field back together. There are still playoff drivers a lap down like Matt Kenseth and Brad Keselowski. And what are they looking like as far as the cutoff line goes? Keselowski was sitting fairly comfortable above the cutoff line. Kenseth was 19 points above. Him running 35th. I feel like the way Almirola and Newman are running right now, that they can make up those 19 points. Talking about Stenhouse as of right now being 5 points above the cutoff line coming into stage 2, or Kenseth would only be 10 points above. Or I should say 11 points above coming into the second stage. That is not going to do it. It'll be very interesting with those 4 drivers. Keselowski, I think, will be alright. I think he's got enough of a buffer that he will be okay. At least I'm thinking he will be. We'll see when we get into the final stage exactly what the points are going to look like. Those drivers who are not locked in after the first 2 stages. Denny Hamlin almost locked in as it is. Compared to Stenhouse and Kenseth not getting any points, I believe Hamlin is locked in now for stage 1. There we go, 10 laps left in stage 2, so we're halfway through the second stage already. Race 2 of our doubleheader tonight. Probably say 3 to 4 more laps. Schneider should catch lap traffic. Guys like Kenseth and Keselowski, they better hustle because they could be in danger of going 2 laps down, and that is just going to be impossible to come back from, especially with the speed that they've had today. Although we had 1 caution in this race, somebody has DNF'd. I did not check who that was at the stage break, so I'll make sure I check that at the end of stage 2 to see who that's going to be. If that is a playoff driver, that will only add more drama into what we've already had in this race. Adjustment changes have been made in Newman's car. He is quicker, but I just don't think he's got the speed that's quick enough compared to Almirola and Elliott. He can be the roadblock and hold on to second, let's say theoretically to the end of the race. He's going to outscore Almirola by 1 point here. He lost 8 points earlier, so he'd only get basically the 1 point he came in back behind Almirola. He'll be 8 points behind him, so let's say he finishes second. Almirola would have to finish ninth or worse for Newman to beat him. But I think it is possible that Newman can beat both Stenhouse and Matt Kenseth. I think that is very well possible. Remember, this final stage coming up, unlike these first two stages where they didn't have to make a pit stop, they will have to make a stop at some point in the final stage of the race. And when will that stop be made? It'll be a very interesting topic. Seven to go, stage two. Schneider will catch Chad Fincham into turn one. Blow right by him into the braking zone. Streaming by Michael McDowell on the outside. There's a big chain of cars into the bus stop. You can see Matt Kenseth is one of those cars. Schneider is racing by quickly, and he is going to put Kenseth a second lap down here in a matter of moments. Kenseth may be just another turn away. Little contact with Haley. There wasn't quite clear of him yet. Now he gets to the outside of Matt Kenseth in turn 7, and Kenseth is now a second lap down in the 35th position. With 6 laps to go in stage 2. This is not looking good for him. Brad Keselowski in danger of going a second lap down, just up ahead in the 34th position. Well, he is a little bit more comfortably above the cutoff line compared to the 42. Sorry, 33rd rather would be Brad Keselowski. And he is a second lap down into the bus stop. Almirola has finally gotten around Ryan Newman in the lap traffic for second place. That could be a 1 point swing between the, I guess a 2 point swing technically between the two drivers. Chase Elliott not that far behind him either. Although he's not in the playoffs, he could become a factor if he can get around them both. Especially for Newman's sake.
5 laps to go.
5 to go now, stage 2. John Hunter Nemechek, who got the free pass during the stage break, will now go 1 lap down in 30th once again. I doubt he's going to be able to hold on to the free pass position. There's quite a ways before the next lap car. He's going to have to catch another caution before the end of the stage. He's going to want to be able to make it work. Four more laps. Ryan Newman's gotten back around Almirola, and now Chase Elliott has gotten around the 10 of Almirola as well, so Newman continues to fight. Everybody will pit at the end of the second stage again. Newman on a few lap older tires. By now they're probably evened out. They'll be on equal tires at the end of the second stage. There it is. Caution's out for the second time today for incident. With 4 laps to go at stage 2, that will give John Hunter Nemechek the free pass after all. So that's exactly what he needed to remain in this thing. And Keegan Schneider will get his 41st stage win of the season. We'll be seeing pit stops, no adjustment changes here for the 99. And now I'll get the rest of the points all calculated and ready to go. And we will change that graphic on the left-hand side of the screen for the start of the final stage. Also, let me check to see who's out of the race real quick as well. The one driver out of the race is Kurt Busch, so it is a playoff driver out of the race. So Kurt Busch is now currently out of the playoffs. Well, I should say out of this race. He was 43 points above the cutoff line. My goodness. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Get caught up. There we go. Now I paused it. All right. So 9 points for Ryan Newman. That was a big timing caution for him, considering he just passed Almirola. Almirola did get back around Elliott right before the caution wave, so he ends up getting 8 points in the stage for finishing second there. I don't think I gave Almirola his stage points last stage. Still had him at 1 point and above, so, I mean, he would have finished, what, third? Behind Elliott, so, yeah, that would put him 8 points ahead of Newman. That would make sense. My bad on that one. I don't know how that got by me, but it did. Ryan Blaney gets 2 points. Martin Truex Jr. gets 3 points. Kurt Busch going to get 1 point for his finishing results of this race, and that's going to be it for him. He did not get stage points in stage 1. Got 5 points for Logano, 4 points for Harvick. Logano's already locked into the next round. Denny Hamlin gets 6 points. And I'm pretty sure Hamlin's locked in on points no matter what happens in this final stage. So that tallies them all up for this current stage now all of a sudden. So things are starting to take shape here just a little bit more. This is going to take me a couple minutes, by the way, down to the chat. So if you got anything to chat about, NASCAR related, let me know. Maybe I can answer your question now better than any other time. This is going to take me a couple minutes to get the points differentials ready to go. Remember, Clint Boyer wasn't doing so hot earlier in the race as well. If I remember right, he was a lap down early. I'll have to check real quick if I lapped him a second time as well. I don't think I'll have too many seconds to go back and check, but he could be in a very dangerous situation as well as Matt Kenseth. All those stage points for those other drivers, that really just put these guys in a hole. So we know Kurt Busch is going to finish last. That's only going to give him 1 point. I already accumulated Kurt Busch's race points into this, so I probably shouldn't have done that, actually. Well, no. So what Kurt Busch's points are going to be, that's going to be coming in. Means he's already DNF'd. I mean, I'll remember it, so I guess it won't be that confusing for you guys. Unless you want me to just have his points going into the round. You guys can let me down in the know about that one down in the chat. Because knowing that his points are already solidified, Kurt Busch is 31 points to the good right now. With his points already solidified. And we have 3 drivers who are locked in to the next round on points, virtue of the stage points they have already scored. So Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, and Brad didn't score any stage points, but he is far enough ahead the cutoff line that even him running 2 laps down right now, he'll be all right. He's currently sitting 57 points above the cutoff line because of how well he ran the first 2 races. Obviously scored a lot of stage points in that Kentucky race, and you can't be outscored by 57 points in the final stage alone. You can only get outscored by 35 points at the most, and that's with the win. So with Kurt Busch being 31 points above the cutoff line, and I don't want to do the math too much right now, but I mean, honestly, finishing this up. There we go. Now I just got to crop it out. We'll be good to go, but... And I don't know. 31 points above the cutoff line, so ideally to be outscored by the first driver below the cutoff line, which would be Ricky Stenhouse Jr. right now. Stenhouse would have to finish 5th. So if Stenhouse finishes 5th, he'll have enough points to beat Kurt Busch. 6th, I'd have to look back at the tiebreaker. I don't know who will have the best finish in the round. All right. Well, thanks for bearing with me, everybody. Get that graphic off of the screen. We'll get the new one up there and we'll be ready to go. Nope. Joshua Rumsey's back for the final stage. Can outscore somebody by 39 points in the final stage. It's actually 35 because second place gets 35 points and then first place gets 40 points. So it's 1 point per position from second on back. But if you win anyway, you're automatically in the next round. So, I mean, the points really don't matter for the winner. If you win, you're in the next round. And there we go. There is the updated point standings. 5 drivers are locked in. 7 still to be locked in, though. Ryan Newman, Kevin Harvick are in a pretty good spot. Truex, as long as he runs top 15 like he's running right now, considering that there are a lot of other drivers in way worse situations below him, I think he'll be all right. And I want to check to see where Boyer's at, because I think he's too... Yeah, Boyer's 1 lap down. But he did not get the free pass there, so he's 31st currently. This is going to be all sorts of scrambled mess, and I'm going to try to do my best job as we run to see who will get that last spot. We know it's simple. If you win, you're in. 51 laps to go. The final stage is underway at Watkins Glen. Scheider wins the race out of the pits and wins the race into turn 1 with the lead as Almirola and Newman are side by side for second. I don't know why I downshifted there. That was I had a brain aneurysm there for a second. I don't know why I did that. That was the on throttle part of the racetrack, and it was downshifted. I think I did spin out with it being in the middle of the corner, but we're all right. I think I was thinking about all those points. Got me a little confused. Now I need to get the chat back up on my laptop because I don't have the chat up yet, so let me do that real quick. There we go. Been watching the Jags game. Oh my gosh. Choosing Thursday night football. No, I'm kidding. I don't have anybody on my fantasy team, nor in my contest. I picked either. I didn't pick either one of those 2 teams this week, so I couldn't care less. Should be pretty fun to watch Joe Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence, so head to head. No, I think Cincy's a better team. especially defensively compared to Jacksonville. Well, Jacksonville played Arizona tough, at least in the first half. So far, the first two stages are in the books, but the upper left-hand corner of the screen are the new updated point standings to start the final stage. Kurt Busch, he's actually 30 points above the cutoff line coming into the final stage. I gave him that one extra point only because he is already out of the race. He is going to finish last and get 1 point. Keselowski, it doesn't matter that he's running bad. He's in the next round virtue of points that he scored in the first 2 races. Newman's trying to keep up with Schneider. Schneider going to break the draft off of turn 7. Newman on equal tires this time around. Oh, and Schneider pushes really wide into turn 1, and Ryan Newman's going to get to the inside for the lead, and he's got it! Can he clear? He had a chance to clear up, but he didn't do it. And Schneider beats him back to it, and now Almirola's on the outside of Ryan Newman for second place, with Elliott right behind him. Will any of those two give an inch? They're both on the cutoff line. Newman wins, Almirola could be out again. And Almirola has cleared Ryan Newman. Had 2 cautions for incident so far. In the first 5 road course races of the season prior to this one, we have not had more than 2 cautions for incident on the road course. We had 2 in the first 2 stages tonight. So does that mean the final stage will go caution free? Or will we have another yellow at some point? And does Eric Almirola have the speed that he can run down Schneider in these final 48 laps? Bigger questions that we don't know of right now. Where is Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? And we know Kenseth's 2 laps down, and he's only 8 points above. Now, Ryan Newman, running where he's at, he'd easily outpoint Matt Kenseth, but then he'd also outpoint Kurt Busch. For any driver that finishes 6th or better, they will tie Kurt Busch. So 5th or better, they will break the tie with Kurt. Better finish in the round is the tiebreaker. So we might have to actually log out of this race at the end of it if we do have a tie to see who has the best finish in the round. Because although I keep tracking the statistics as far as top 5, top 10s, I didn't actually take a picture of the Kentucky statistics. I have no clue exactly off the top of my head where Kurt Busch finished. In comparison to, say, a 6th place finish today by either Stenhouse or Newman, is that going to be good enough for a tiebreaker? Kenseth 2 laps down outside the top 35. It's in danger. How about Almirola? He's trying to get a win and not worry about all the carnage and the mess behind him in the points. He wants to just win this at all costs. Next race will be at New Hampshire tomorrow night on the channel, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard start time for the opening race of the round of 12. New Hampshire's put on some great races in NASCAR for the Cup Series in the last few years. We'll see if we'll have a great race there as well. This is a crazy cut-off elimination race in the round of 16. We're coming into the race, it was a 13-point difference on the cutoff line. It wasn't nail-biter tight, but by the end of stage 2, as you see, it is nail-biter tight. Especially when you consider the guys below the cutoff line or the guys inside the top 5 or right around it. There's guys further up in the cutoff line who are either out of the race or outside the top 30 and a lap or 2 down, and they're trapped there. Best thing for any of those guys is Schneider winning this race means he's already locked in winning the first 2 races of the round. Well, the question down in the chat right now I'm going to ask you guys, who do you think is going to get eliminated We know Matt DiBenedetto and John Hunter Nemechek are basically in must-win situations. 24 points back in the final stage. Neither one of those guys are in the top 10 right now. Nemechek actually just got the free pass at the stage break in the 30th position, so I mean, I don't see him being able to make that up. DiBenedetto, I'm not sure exactly where he's at. I know he was outside the top 10, though, and he would have to outscore Almirola and or, well, I guess he would have, yeah, Almirola is only 24 points ahead of him, 27 points ahead of him is Kenseth, so he'd have to beat Kenseth by a lot of positions, too. I don't think he could beat him by 27 points. Although if Kenseth ends up finishing like 36 and gets 1 point, which once you get to 35th, it's 2 points, and then 34th, it's 3 points, but it's 1 point from 36th to 40th. So if Kenseth, say, finishes 36, and he gets 1 point with no stage points today, I mean, even DiBenedetto would have a chance to outpoint him. But the problem is DiBenedetto would also have to outpoint 2 other drivers ahead of him, being Stenhouse and Newman, and they're both ahead of him already as it is right now in the race and on points. So that's why it's not looking too likely for him unless he goes out here and wins. But he may be able to beat one of those guys. Nemechek is the safe bet. I think we can all agree that Nemechek is going to be eliminated, and then likely DiBenedetto. But everybody else, I have no clue. I mean, Kurt Busch, he at least Matt Kenseth's in a situation he can gain a few more spots. And every point is so precious right now. Even if he finishes his 30th, if he can get back to, say, 30th, I mean, is there a chance he can just skim by into the next round with Kurt Busch DNFing? Well, I guess he wouldn't outscore Kurt Busch, so no matter what, Kurt Busch is going to be ahead of Matt Kenseth in points. Only because Kenseth's 2 laps down. I mean, there's no way he's getting back on the lead lap. He just has not had the speed. I should say between Stenhouse, Newman, Almirola, Kenseth, and Kurt Busch are really the drivers we're looking at right now. Of those drivers, who do you think will be eliminated and who will stay? I mean, if DiBenedetto and Nemechek are out, then 2 of those 5 drivers I just named are going to miss. Imagine Ganassi getting both cars in the playoffs, and they're both in danger of missing the round of 12. Despite coming into this race 19 or more points above the cutoff line for both of them. I mean, heck, Kurt Busch came into this race 46 points above the cutoff line. You would think that's comfortable. But him DNFing and getting 0 stage points today, he was the one that caused that accident back at stage 1 with 7 to go in the stage, so he got 0 stage points. I mean, this is just, it almost makes your brain hurt. It's exciting thinking about it, but man, this is going to be a nail-biter. And then we got a race for the win on top of it, because Almirola is definitely showing like he's got race-winning speed. Just imagine if he can get the clean air. All he needs is Schneider to make that one mistake, which he almost did when Newman was in second. That actually allowed to open the door up for Almirola to get past Newman. The second means Newman could not make the pass for the lead. And speaking of Newman, he is still in 3rd. Elliott in 4th. Down rounding out the top 5. We've got lap traffic coming up the next lap or 2 in front of these leaders. A 1 second lead. Schneider over Almirola. Diamond cutting arc into turn 5. Patrick Shadley thinks that Kurt Busch and Kenseth will be eliminated along with Nemechek. Oh, and then he said DiBenedetto as well. So could definitely be possible. But yeah, Kurt Busch, I mean, that's the only thing. He can't, and he's in the garage. Like, he literally just cannot gain any more positions. His fate is sealed at this point. Oh, and that might be the mistake. And here comes Almirola to the lead. Schneider ran wide in turn 1. Trying to get back alongside the 10. He can't do it. Schneider going to try to outbrake him into the bus stop. Oh, nobody giving an inch. You can't go side by side through here. They make contact, and Almirola's sideways, and he hangs on to the race car. At all costs, he needs to hold on to his position. And as they enter lap traffic, Almirola is trying to lead his first lap of the race. We are past halfway. And he has just blown by his first lap car of Chad Fincham and now trying to drive away with the lead. Schneider blows by Fincham into turn 7. Ton of lap traffic in front of Almirola. 4 cars. First of which is Nemechek, last car in the lead lap. And he's holding him up. Schneider goes to the outside. Uses Nemechek as a pip into the S's. Very dangerous spot to make a pass on the racetrack, but he made it work, and Schneider's back into the lead again. And he may blow the chicane here. That was close, and he makes contact with a 51 of Gase. Almost allowed the 10 to get in there. All these factors, if we have a crazy finish for the win in this one as well, this might be the race of the year. Or of the season at least. 39 laps away, and there's Kenseth in danger of going a 3rd lap down. Boyer's 1 lap down. Don't forget about him. He's only 11 points above the cutoff line. And if he loses a 2nd lap here, he's going to be trapped outside the top 30. Is it possible that De Benedetto Newman and Almirola can all get in above Bowyer, Kenseth, and Kurt Busch? Kenseth is 3 laps down. Boyer's 2 laps down. First car 1 lap down is David Reagan in 29. Schneider's finally pulling away from Eric Almirola. He's getting through the lap traffic a little bit better. Oh man, car didn't shift there. 2nd to 3rd off the exit of the corner like I wanted to. Still got over half the tire wear left. Tires aren't wearing out that bad. He's taking good care of them. Schneider hot into the bus stop. That was not pretty. Maybe the calm before the storm. Remember, we still have 1 set of pit stops remaining in the race. 37 laps to go. The odds are not with us in getting another caution because of the other races, but the pace we had with one caution in each of the first two stages, you think at some point we're going to get one in this final stage. Schneider's up to a 7-second lead now. Once those tires get below 30%, it's going to get really slick for Schneider's sake. Now, he might try to use as much of that lead as possible, pit as late as he possibly can. We'll just have to wait and see. We know Almirola's got an equal car with him when they're both running nose to tail without any lap traffic. Almirola might even be faster with clean air. We really don't know. He hasn't had it yet. He had it for a whole half a lap, and he was starting to pull away until he caught Chad Fincham. First lap car. I guess Fincham didn't really hold him up too much, but second, third, and fourth lap cars beyond that definitely did. That's another mistake for Schneider. Second time. Bounced off the guardrail in the race. He did it twice in qualifying as well within those first two sessions. Doesn't really have to push overly hard anymore.
Alright, you're clear there.
Got a 9.5-second lead back to the 10 car. Five laps to go. Thirteen people currently watching, 14 people currently watching. Cutoff race at Watkins Glen for the round of 16. A nail-biting point situation with Kurt Busch out of the race. 31 points above the cutoff line. His fate is sealed. Any one of those drivers would finish 6th or better. They would at least tie Kurt Busch. That are below the cutoff line, like Eric Almirola. I guess Newman would have to finish even more than that. Almirola's sitting pretty good. Newman in third would have to outscore Kurt Busch by, 5 more positions to beat Kurt Busch than Stenhouse. Stenhouse would have to finish 6th or better, so, I mean, that's basically... I want to make sure I'm doing my math right before I start stating this again. Kurt Busch has 31 now, but that's because his points are up. So you literally have to beat him by 30 positions, 30 points. If you're Stenhouse, so yeah, 6th or better. So with Stenhouse having to finish 6th or better, you say, what about Ryan Newman, who's running third, 8 points below him? Well, Newman would have to outscore him by 5 more points. Well, that entails a win. A win would grant you a spot anyway. But then you have Matt Kenseth, who is also 3 laps down right now, and he's only 6 points above the cutoff line. And he's outside the top 30. Clint Boyer also outside the top 30. 11 points above the cutoff line, and he's 2 laps down. Head is spinning. This is like Bristol all over again. This is like the last 40 laps of the Bristol night race for the round of 16 the other night all over again, really. Only now it's at Watkins Glen. It's NASCAR Heat 5. And instead of the final 40 laps, it's the entire final stage. which I guess is only 50 laps here, so pretty close. But at Bristol, 40 laps flies by. 50 laps here at Watkins Glen takes a little bit longer. You have more time to think about it, but that just builds the anticipation for the finish of this race more and more. As far as the race at the front goes, Eric Almirola and Keegan Schneider are very, very close on speed. Where Almirola can be quicker is if he has the clean air advantage on Schneider. The problem with that is he's fallen back in lap traffic. That is where Schneider has gotten the lead and pulled away. Almirola led one lap on Schneider before they got into lap traffic, and then Schneider got back around in the next lap. That was after Almirola was sitting there a second or less off the lead, just waiting for Schneider to make a mistake. Went a little wider in turn one. Almirola got underneath him, cleared him off the exit of the S's. White Hanson, welcome to the stream. Love the channel, watching again. Thanks for tuning in, Wyatt. Appreciate that comment as well. You're watching at a very, very entertaining moment. And we still have one more pit stop left for those of you just tuning in as well. Nobody can make enough fuel to the end. We have not had a caution yet in the final stage. We have 31 laps to go at the start-finish line here. So we'll alternate through the different camera angles one final time in today's race. For about the next dozen laps. Starting off with this in-car camera from the cockpit. Schneider, of course, trying to go for a 7th win in a row. Just be insane if we could pull that off. That would include, obviously, sweeping the opening round of the playoffs. The 20-win season through the first 28 completed races. There's other dominance in the second season of the career mode for the Cup Series. He only had 5 season wins in his rookie year. Interesting. Will this final pit stop be under green, or will it be a potential caution stop? That left front tire is down to 30% wear right now in the 99, which means this car is going to start to drop in handling. And Almirola is going to start to run quicker lap times when he's not dealing with as much traffic. But you look at the traffic ahead of the 99 that he's about to catch now as well. There is a gigantic line of cars. And he could be in an equally bad situation, if not worse. Newman has now ran down Almirola. He's about half a second behind him. I'm about to lap inside the top 20. Drives it in deep to the inside of the 41 of Cole Custer. And he'll clear and make the pass on him at the start-finish line. Sends it into turn 1 to get around to 17 now of Chris Buescher. Ideal spot to try and make a pass, but he made it. About 11 more laps these teams can go on fuel as well. Schneider outbreaks Ty Dillon into the bus stop. Dillon lets him go and will give up his lap. Reddick trying to block. Schneider got into him. Mercury, welcome to the stream. Problem is with 4 DNFs, our average finish is still 7.0 and not any better than that. To be under a 7.0 with a win today, or at least a finish better than 7th, really. Rams lost to Dillon on his outside off the exit of turn 1. Schneider will make the pass into the S's. 26% now on that left front tire. Almirola hasn't cut into that lead yet. Schneider outbreaks LaJoy. He'll go a lap down. Sends it on Jimmy Johnson. Just completely doored Johnson in the bus stop. Poor Jimmy. Innocent bystander in that. And on the Stenhouse watch, I believe he is the last car on the lead lap. No, never mind. That's Fincham. Never mind. False alarm, as Chad Fincham was already a few laps out. Almirola almost a full second faster that last lap than Schneider. It might have been because Schneider ran into the side of Jimmy Johnson at the bus stop. That probably cost him a good second, I'd say. They probably most of the time lost that last lap. Won 71% of the races this season. That's crazy. I mean, if we win out, we can still break Richard Petty's win record for the most wins in a single season. He ran way more races in a season than that. 36. I think he ran 55 races in the season he had set that record. He won about 50%, a little over 50% of the races. We're going to put John Hunter Nemechek another lap down. So Nemechek now 3 laps down on the racetrack, and the likelihood of him advancing to the next round of the playoffs is slim to none. We basically need a win at this position. Oh no! McDowell got into Schneider, and Schneider has crashed! Schneider has crashed off the exit of turn 1 at the hands of Michael McDowell. What happened there? I wish we had a replay of that, but we can't even get a replay. It felt like McDowell just hit me in the side. What just happened? And McDowell was underneath of Schneider off the exit of turn 1. Schneider was literally in the process of passing him, and McDowell might have just came up behind us too soon and just knocked us into the wall. McDowell was already 3 laps down at the time of us catching him to put him a 4th lap down. We need to take a run back at this because I need to look at that replay one more time. We can't show it on the full screen. Well, actually, we can. Hang on. I got a way we can do this. We're going to go back to the replay cam. You guys are going to be seeing a weird screen there for a couple seconds. So on the replay cam, I think McDowell hit us. Because the car just jerked straight left, and we were on the straightaway, so it's not like the tires were causing us to turn that way. So it was this next corner We'll get to the outside of McDowell off the exit of turn 1. 26 laps to go. Power slides, McDowell was there. What happened? I mean, it happened so quick. So why did the car just grab that direction? I did not clip the wall. I mean, you can see right here, we made it past the wall. And if you see also Michael McDowell in that rearview mirror, I mean, he's right there. My only judgment is he clipped us in the right rear, pulling back up. Because I never moved. I was on the curbing the whole time. That's a dangerous angle to hit into that guardrail, too. But, I mean, it happened so quick. I mean, he would have had to have clipped us. And obviously that impact was enough to DNF. I mean, he had to have clipped us. That's my only... I mean, you can't quite see his front bumper out of the rear view until after we started angling ourselves towards the wall. So, I mean, that just tells me he clipped our right rear. And I probably just overcorrected it. But, I mean, when the wall's, like, right there at that awkward of an angle, it's hard to not overcorrect it. Let me get that screen up for you guys. That is just wild. And not the way that Schneider would have liked this race to finish in. This is probably going to randomize the finishing order up. Now, Kurt Busch will finish last. He was the only driver out of the race, so we're going to finish 39th. 5th DNF of the season, and the winning streak has come to an end for Schneider, and now the chance of catching Petty's all-time win streak, or all-time winningest season of 28 races is going to not happen now as well, which granted, I don't think we're going to win the last 14 races total, but yeah, I mean, my guess is he clipped a right rear, and I mean, that shot me just the opposite direction. Because I was still going straight, and with being on the curbing, too, getting that contact, that probably just made me even more loose. Well, this is going to be interesting now. Now we got to undo all these points. So wherever Kurt Busch ends up finishing, everybody else behind him is going to get one more point. Because Kurt Busch is going to finish last. Where did it score Kurt? It scored Kurt Busch 11, so really everybody from 12th on back is going to get an extra point for their finish because Kurt Busch did not finish there. He finished last by our accounts with doing the points ourselves. Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, wins at Watkins Glen. He ran top 3 the whole race. So we know for a fact that Ryan Newman is on his way to the round of 12, and he made it to the championship 4 last season. That is just craziness. So at least that makes it easy that Newman has advanced. Now we just got to unbuckle the rest of this. And this is going to take a good 5 minutes or so. So hang on tight as I'll try to talk through it. Logano ends up 2nd. Chase Elliott 3rd. Eric Almirola 4th. That finish should put Almirola in. Well, the Newman won behind him, though. So that would actually knock him below the cutoff line. But because he outpointed Matt Kenseth. Well, then again, though, the randomization of the finishing order. Where did Kenseth finish? Kenseth finished 21st. Almirola needed to beat him by 4 positions, and he did. So Almirola did outrun Kenseth, so Almirola is going to be the next round. Stenhouse only beat Kenseth by 3 points, but he beat... Okay, so you might hear silence for a little bit, but that's because I need to give the finishing points, and then I need to organize it from there, because just looking at this and how scrambled up it is, I'm not going to be able to decipher this without actually seeing the points in front of my face and doing the math. Just seeing the positions is not going to be good enough, so bear with me for a couple minutes. Oh my goodness. We got a lot of unpacking to do here. That is also the first win of the season for Ryan Newman. He had 2 wins last year late in the season, and one was at the Charlotte Roval, in a race where he had to win that race to get into the round of 8 at the time. And he had to win, not had to win this race, but he needed to at least finish top 6, no matter what. And my goodness, he ends up winning. Well, we don't even know if he needed to finish top 6. That would have been to beat Kurt Busch. He would have had to win. But obviously where he finished would have been able to outpoint Kenseth and Boyer as well. So I think he would have been all right without the win, but he definitely still would have had to have a solid run. That win gives him more playoff points going into the next round, so that's bonus. So Almirola will get 33 points off his finishing position, giving him 2081 total. Denny Hamlin's already locked in. Kevin Harvick would have had 29 points. He was already 29 points above the cutoff line, so he was probably going to be all right. That'll give him 2103. So Hamlin locked in. How about Ty Dillon with a top 5? Finishing 5th. Ryan Preece 6th. Blaney ends up 9th. Tyler Reddick rounded out the top 10. Blaney was plus 31, so 9th place finish is good enough for him. That would have given him 28 points. 2104. So this is where I'm going to have to remember that each one of these drivers is going to get 1 extra point compared to their finishing position. Kyle Busch is already in the next round. Kurt Busch DNF. You got to go down to Stenhouse in 19th to find the next playoff driver. And Stenhouse went in 3 points below the cutoff line into the final stage. He ends up getting 19 points for his finishing position, giving him 2,064 points. Truex, 20th. He was only 13 points above the cutoff line into the final stage. He was top 10 for most of the day, but the randomization of the finishing order has him 20th. I guess it would be 19th because Kurt Busch DNFing. So while Stenhouse got 19 points, Truex gets 18. And that would give Truex 2076. Matt Kenseth, 20th, 17 points for him, giving him 2068. Keselowski was locked into the next round already. Got to go down to Clint Boyer, I believe. Boyer, 34th. That's only 4 points because he would have finished 33rd technically. So 4 points for his finishing position. So he ended up in a much worse spot with the randomization of the finishing order. Well, man, you got DiBenedetto too. Well, DiBenedetto was already below the cutoff line, so tough break for him. He lost about 20 positions out of this. And then John Hunter Nemechek only going to get 1 point for finishing 37th. DiBenedetto going to get 3 points. And then, yeah, that would be it. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. I don't believe I did. All right. Thanks for those of you that are still tuning in and bearing with me here. You guys want to see who the drivers will be into the next round. I just got to get the points differences here, and once I get the points acclimated, we'll be all good to go. And I think I'm just going to read them off for you guys so that way it doesn't take me extra time not reading it off. So the easy lock-ins on points that weren't factored in any way, shape, or form to even be close to being eliminated would have been obviously the drivers who had locked themselves in before the final stage. Keegan Schneider off of wins, and Ryan Newman, of course, locked himself in with a win as well in the round at Watkins Glen. So those two locked in on wins. On points before we even got to the final stage, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Brad Keselowski all locked themselves in. Then into the final stage, Ryan Blaney ended up really solidly above the cutoff line in the final stage, top 10. Top 10 for Kevin Harvick as well. He was already solidly above the cutoff line. He gets in to the next round. John Hunter Nemechek, Matt DiBenedetto, those two drivers easily eliminated. They both finished 34th or worse at the end of the race, and they were already in pretty much must-win situations into the final stage as it was. Then Eric Almirola with a great day. Again, Almirola ended up, even with the randomization, the finishing order, finishing 4th. She pretty much ran top 3 the whole day, so he really only lost 1 spot out of it. He ends up with 2,081 points, and that would have put Eric Almirola 17 points above the cutoff line. So he was all right. And then you look at Kurt Busch and Martin Truex Jr., who were actually tied on points exiting this race. And they both made it into the next round of the playoffs by 12 points. So Kurt Busch, even with the DNF and a last place finish today, he makes it into the next round by 12 points. So does Martin Truex Jr. He only lost 1 point on the cutoff line that final stage. So even though he had a poor 19th place finish, it was good enough for him to make it to the next round. And then that leaves just the last driver above the cutoff line. And the last driver above the cutoff line to make it to the round of 12 was Matt Kenseth in the 42. And he made it by 4 points over Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So the dream season for Stenhouse comes to an end. I mean, that's just insane. Because if it wasn't for me DNFing, Matt Kenseth would have finished. I mean, the guys who would have been 3 laps down, he would have had to finish 33rd or worse. With Stenhouse finishing 19th and he was in 15th before I wrecked, he was easily going to make up 4 points, well more than 4 points on Kenseth, and Stenhouse would have gotten that last spot into the playoffs. Kenseth wouldn't have caught Kurt Busch still. The only other driver who would have been in danger would have been Clint Boyer. Well, Boyer ended up missing anyway, I guess. Because the two drivers just below the cutoff line would have been Stenhouse and Boyer. Boyer missed by 8 points. Stenhouse missed by 4. For those of you listening into detail here. So Kenseth got the last spot on points with a 20th place finish. Because again, Kurt Busch DNF'd. So it gave him another point. But it also gave Stenhouse another point too, so it really didn't matter. But Stenhouse would have had to beat Kenseth by 9 positions, and he beat him by 2. And again, let's say Kenseth finishes 33rd. Stenhouse would have had to finish 23rd, and there weren't even that many cars on the lead lap, so he would have been locked in. He would have been locked in automatically with that last yellow with 26 to go if it didn't randomize the finishing order with me DNFing. So literally the randomization of the finishing order put Matt Kenseth in the playoffs not Stenhouse. And the only reason that I can't just say that Stenhouse is in the next round is because we don't know exactly what would have happened to Stenhouse the rest of the race. Yes, we could assume he would have finished on the lead lap, and Kenseth would not have gotten really any of his 3 laps back and would have finished 33rd or worse. But we never know if Stenhouse was going to have an engine issue later in the race or crash out of the race. That would have been the only thing that would have knocked him out, but we wouldn't know. We would have had to finish the race to find that out. So that I can't just say that Stenhouse got in, even though the randomization, the finishing order costed him. It didn't cost him so much in his position. It's just that Matt Kenseth got such a huge gain out of it, gaining over 12 points at least. And Stenhouse, I mean, he would have been all right. Even 19th, he would have been a few points to the good still on Kenseth. So that's just a tough break. Especially for Stenhouse running for JTG Doherty. And especially with Daytona being the cutoff race of the round of 12. I mean, Stenhouse could theoretically have had a chance at the round of 8. And he's run good on the road courses. And another thing, though, it goes back, he didn't get any stage points. And he didn't get any stage points because although he qualified 16th, which isn't that bad, and he had some speed in his race car, he had to start at the rear of the field. If he could have got stage points, even with the randomization of this finishing order, he could have maybe scored 4 stage points. And, we'd still be talking about Stenhouse making it barely. So the 4 drivers eliminated from the round of 16, once again, on points, would be Anthony Alfredo. Anthony Alfredo missed by 43 points. Matt DiBenedetto missed by 41 points. By just 8 points, Clint Boyer misses the playoffs. Despite going into this race 23 points above the cutoff line and 11 points above the cutoff line in the final stage, he actually finished pretty accurately too. And Stenhouse would have beaten Boyer, and he beat Boyer anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered, especially with Ryan Newman winning. See, that's another thing too. Ryan Newman wouldn't have caught. So let's say I go on to win the race. Ryan Newman wouldn't have caught Clint Boyer. The only guy he could have caught was Matt Kenseth. So if Kenseth would have finished, let's say at best he could have finished 33rd with where he was running. And let's say Newman finishes 3rd. He was running top 3 all day. Let's say Ryan Newman finishes 3rd place. That he would have been able to outscore because he would have only been... Well, then Almirola would have ended up 2nd, so... Yeah, Newman would have easily outscored Stenhouse. Well, then Stenhouse would have had a better finish, too. So if there's no randomization of the finishing order, Stenhouse would outpoint Kenseth. Would Newman have been able to beat Stenhouse? Yes. So if he beat Stenhouse, he would have automatically beat Kenseth. Kenseth ended up ahead of Stenhouse at the end anyway, so. Man, that's just crazy. Rest in peace, Keegan. I will try. That was a rough finish for me. It would have been awesome to see all those finishes unfold in person. Kind of anticlimactic way of doing it tonight, and I apologize for that one, but Michael McDowell turned us going into the S's. And that's my disclaimer. Good thing we won the first 2 races of the round. And we won the first 2 stages of this race, too, so we will still carry 2 more playoff points into this next round. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.